Hi, this is Josh Cheng from China. I'm a sales engineer for Hvege coating or Hvege coating in Mandarin. So here's the logo of our company, and we've been doing UV coating for over 23 years. And here's the picture of our company. We are located in Zhongshan City, Guangdong, which is like about 1.5 hours away from Guangzhou by car. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the coating process for particle boards, the solid color coating process for particle boards, because a couple weeks ago, Rod reached out to me to say, hey, I wanted to do the solid color finish on particle boards directly without pressing the wood veneer on them. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the whole coating process for primer and top coat, and what kind of UV coating you are going to use, and maybe some of the guidance or suggestion for the overall coating process. So for particle boards and MDF boards, if we are going to do the solid color finish, we want to do the primer something like this. We want the primer to be smooth and even. Yep, something like this. And as Rod showed me your coating process and the whole UV coating line, and I just realized you guys never used a UV filler before. For the sanding primer, for the clear primer, you guys just use the sanding primer only, and plus the other like colored primer. So, but that's just for the wood veneer substrates. For MDF or particle boards, we will need to use a UV coating named a UV filler. A UV filler will, compared to sanding primer, UV filler will have better filling property than the UV primer because of the formulation is a little bit different. So for MDF boards and particle boards, they are like after the hot press and the glue thing, and the surface is really is harder than the polywoods, but still there will be a little bit gap and holes on the surface of them. So in order to make the surface to be smooth, we will need stronger filling property UV coating, and that's why we need that UV filler before everything. And then yesterday I made two sample boards, two same particle boards with two different UV coating. And this one is coated with UV filler as well. I'm sorry, the board was contaminated by some UV white primer for a little bit. And the board here is coated with UV sanding primer only. Yep, I'm going to send you guys these two boards as well. Both of these boards are coated twice, which is like 2 layers of UV coating with approximately the same the coating weight, which is like 50 to 60 grams per square meter. And as you can tell, the surface, the one coated with UV filler is like much, how to say that, like more even, more smooth than the one with UV sanding primer only. As you can tell, there are still some parts, like the small parts, and a little bit like some dots that cannot show by the camera. They are not filled properly with the UV sanding primer. Because the UV filler will have a better filling property, it's about the formulation. They are pretty much the same. They're really similar. Not the same, they're really similar, but the UV filler will have better filling property, even though they all apply by the roller systems. And for sanding primer, we might able to like feel the surface like this. And but for sanding primer, that's the case. So that's why you can see some of those small areas, they are not filled properly. But with the UV filler, it will penetrate between the gap of it, and then also stack a little bit layer on the surface. Maybe I did not write it properly, but it will come out like this. So it will not just follow the uneven surface of the particle boards. It will fill the surface and with a thin layer of UV lacquer on surface. And then after sanding, it will look really smooth and no like damage-like spots. But for this one, after you sand it, the marks on here and here and here, and also the small dots will still be there. And you don't want that, because when you do the top coats like this, or pieces like in here, it will not look that smooth with the top coat, because the bottom, the primer is not coated properly. And according to what I saw, your existing UV coating line, I think you might consider to get an extra set of UV filler coating unit, which is a unit of filler coater and a unit of the UV dryer, the UV curing unit. So that you are able to do the primer, the UV filler twice to get the surface like this instead of this. And then when you do the follow-up coating layers, maybe like another white primer like this, or do the blue roller color primer, and it would just looks just fine. And for the follow-up top coats on the top of it, it will looks much smoother. You can do your trials with the boards after you get them from me later. So I think that's it. In conclusion, for the primer coating process for particle boards, you will need UV filler. Even though you guys never use UV filler on the wood vineyard boards but for particle boards and MDF, you will need that. Actually, not only particle boards and MDF, also maybe like how to say that, the polywoods, or maybe sometimes you want to do a really smooth surface ones, the solid wood ones, you also want to consider using UV filler. And then for solid color finish, we can, most of our clients would do a UV primer. I would consider that as a UV primer as well, because we do the base, we do the primer properly. So that's still UV primer, plus like maybe PU or water base, or sometimes lower end they will use NC paints, and maybe UV top coats, spraying top coats to do the top coats, to do the finish. But whether you should choose PU or water base or others, you will always consider to use roller coating rather than spraying. But sometimes when you have the objects, the substrates like that, you cannot just use roller coater from bottom to top. You will use roller plus spraying top coat as a combination. For example, for this one, it's a white oak cabinet piece. It's also exporting to America as well. So my clients, what they do, they will do the UV clear primer and plus the UV white primer on each piece. They will do it on the plane by itself to do the roller primer, clear plus white primers, and also the same for the one inside. And then they will, after they've done the primer properly, they will assemble them together and then use an auto spraying unit to spray. I think they are using a PU white top coat here, a PU white semi gloss finish, a PU top coat, and that's the sample boards. And also you can use like water-based, like 1K water-based top coats or like NC top coats. But I do not recommend solid color, UV solid color spraying, UV spraying solid color top coat, because for UV coating, they will always have that curing problem when the lacquer is too thick. So I don't recommend spraying with UV coating, UV solid color coating. But we will see. Personally, I think water-based and PU would be the best choice. And the other ones, you can also do the clear primer properly with UV filler and then UV sanding primer. And then we can try to do the roller. Yeah, I showed you this one before. We can do the UV roller color primer here. We can do like blue colors or black colors. This piece is finished, is coated by UV filler and then followed up by UV clear primer and then followed up by 2 layers of UV black roller primer, and then on the very top layer is another UV clear sanding primer, because we want to protect the black color and also remove the roller marks on the surface. So that's why we're doing another clear UV clear sanding primer on the top of the color primer. And then for this piece, you can sand it, and then you can do like spraying or like roller matte top finish on top of it. Yep. This one, the top coat is coated with UV coating. It's a roller coating plus what we call the inert coating. So there will be so the top coat will be applied by the roller coaters, and then before cure it, we will laminate a piece of PET film on that, and that PET film will offer this kind of uneven shape, the micro uneven shape on the top of it, and then cure it, and then the PET film will peel off by the film recycling machine, and then we will get this smooth and matte finish top coat. I will also send you that video. I hope they will explain a little bit better than me. And yeah, I think that's it for color top coat. You just do the color on the bottom and then do a clear top coat to show the color from the primer. And yeah, I think one of your coating process is something like this. I saw what you do with the wood veneer ones. You do the UV sanding primers, and then I think like 2 to 3 UV colored primer plus a matte roller top coat finish. So this one will be similar with your assisted coating process. Yeah, you can do matte finish, or you can do a high gloss finish. Yep, this MDF board is coated with clear sanding UV filler, UV clear sanding primers, the UV colored primers, the glitter primer, and then high gloss curtain top coat, all done by UV lacquer for this phase. So I think that's it. So I will make another conclusion for your project with particle boards directly without wood veneers. If you want to do solid color finish, you would need to do the primer properly first. Use a UV filler, then maybe use a sanding primer as well, but never do the UV sanding primer first. Just use a UV filler first to make the surface fulfilled, smooth, even. And then you can do colored and maybe clear top coat, either high gloss or matte finish, or colored primer plus solid color top coat. Right. Thank you.